Hi there everybody, I'm Robin Retallick of the Law of Attraction Club, and each week in the club we have a theme for the week, and you get to hear 3 different channels presenting and answering, of course, your questions on this. And the theme for this week is what happens when you die. Let me move to the presentation. So you can join us on Saturday at 9 o'clock Pacific, noon Eastern, and either on Tuesday or Thursday. One of these calls each week is an open call, and there's the access number for all of our open calls and the PIN. And of course, come along, bring your questions. We would love to have you engage with you a little more, so you can get hold of, if you like, a very powerful process here on this link. If you'd like some real hands-on help, then you can join one of our 12-month programs, acclaimed programs, may I say. Okay, so let's move to the presentation for this week and to Tara. Death is perhaps the subject about which the greatest number of stories has been invented. Death, in this one's world, and probably yours, is a huge deal. It is the ultimate penalty for wrongdoing. Number of deaths is the scale by which disasters are measured. It's against the law to deliberately cause your own or assist somebody else to. Great effort is made with the elderly to prolong the inevitable long past the point where they themselves would welcome it. Now, none of this makes any sense at all. Let's see if we can bring some clarity to this topic. And don't worry if this seems a bit mind-boggling at first. Let it sit for a while. Just get the concepts. Firstly, let's acknowledge that we're using language here. A language created by you humans who, by choice, are not only experiencing a finite space-time world, but have become so adapted to that context, that it's difficult for you to imagine an existence without it. Your consciousness is also of a particular shape. Mostly you have focused it down to dealing with only one thing at a time. So it is natural when you try to describe things non-physical, like that which exists beyond death, that you picture them as spaces and places with time and things and beings with shapes, and you see your consciousness continuing as it is now. Let's now understand the flow of things, because this flow is what brought you into this existence you seem to be having and will take you out of it. Death is not an end to anything. It is, in a sense, a transition, but even that makes too big a deal of it. It's a choice, one of an infinite number of choices you make. And by the way, all deaths are in effect suicides, because everything you experience is the result of your choices. You could say it's a big choice, but it's all part of a never-ending cycle of choices and experiences that create you and your matching context. You and your matching context exist always as a matching pair. You are a consciousness carved out of the collective consciousness of all that is, by desire and an intention. As soon as you began your individualism, you attracted around you a matching realm, a context within which you had an experience. New experiences led you to new desires, and you made new choices. With each new choice, alternate versions of you experienced different new contexts. And so the cycle continues for each of those versions of you. So now, through an infinity of choices, here you are, seeming to live on planet Earth and seeming to exist only as one discrete individual. And the cycles continue. So what happens as you leave this existence is in some ways the reverse of how you got here. As always, you are a choice in all things. So whatever you choose to expect will be your experience, except, of course, that you are not a choice about the absolutes. You are a part of the timeless consciousness of all that is, and you cannot cease to exist, and cycles will continue. One thing you probably expect, no matter what your belief system is that this is going to be a big change, that you will not experience things in quite the same way, or even anything like the same way. And therefore, of course, you will not. You will have created a new context with new experiences, and on you go. You will probably begin to experience a freedom from that captivating space-time world of yours and the inherent limitations of those previous choices you made. Your consciousness could open up to simultaneously experience you in many of your versions. And remember that there are infinite versions. If you understand the concept of infinity, you, in other versions, are every other consciousness you have ever encountered. In other words, everybody else is just another version of you. Can you begin to see how connected you are to everything and everyone? Experiencing this oneness is just one of your possibilities. Will you experience a welcoming committee? Will you meet with departed loved ones? Will there be angels and guides to help you in this new realm of yours? Will there be something resembling God as you imagine that to be? Well, you will have to tell us. All of that is up to you. You are at choice here as always. The law of attraction applies here as always. All of your experiences within whatever context you create will be in line with your hopes and desires and chosen beliefs and expectations. Just remember that all is well. There is nothing inherently dark or evil in non-physical, although you can choose to create the illusion of any of that. Because this death thing can be a hugely ethereal topic, we find that once again we're being somewhat matter-of-fact in this description. And once again, that's okay. But let's encourage you now into designing this transition even as you design everything else for yourself. Start to imagine it into the glorious experience that it can be. The nature of this event is anything you want it to be. We suggest forget all ideas of physical deterioration. You can pass in your sleep. You can go in any way you choose. Just be aware that by your belief choices, by what you focus on and perhaps worry about, you are choosing. Have a designer death experience. Deliberately choose what feels good, because here's what we can tell you. This is a place in which you will see possibilities beyond your current imagination. This is a place from which you will make very different choices than the ones you are making now. This is a place of conscious connectedness and of love. This is a place of peace and power and fun and freedom, as perhaps you've never quite been able to step into in this illusion you are in. Just know that you can go wherever and do whatever you want, and we will be there asking for the next dance and laughing with you in great joy. Okay, so there we have the theme for the week. And of course, you're welcome to join us and come ask your questions. We'd love to have you and intersect with you and interact with you and help you to an understanding of what this is all about. This is fun for us. So we'll see you then.